Okay, so I hit it on YouTube. Alright, just have to do a couple other things before we can get going.
Alright, let me get a hat too.
Mm-hmm. Which hat is that?
What?
What hat are you wearing?
I don't know. Something I got from MLG, like a tournament, like man, like 7 years ago, I think. When
Mm-hmm.
MLG was still a thing.
It's not a thing anymore?
Like they were bought by Activision, and now it's like kind of changed a bit.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I can't put my headphones like this.
Okay, so I'm ready. Alrighty, so I'm ready to go. So could I start off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so hey everybody, Blood Moon Bobby here. I am here once again with the awesome Ross Siev, here to talk about Nintendo's the Nintendo Direct for E3 2021 and even a bit of the Summer Game Fest. So Ross, how have you been? What's the temperature like down in San Diego?
Well, Bobby, if you could hear my fan,
Yeah.
it is definitely hot. It is definitely getting hotter. So thankfully, I have AC, but it's not helping out that much.
Yeah.
So right now, yeah, I just got this fan blowing in my face, and I'm still sweating a bit. Um, but yeah, well, how about you, Bobby? Because you look kind of wet yourself.
Oh. Yeah, well, yeah, I would say, well, actually, it's not even that. It has gotten quite hot, like up, I live, near, Long Beach, so, but yeah, even so, I know, like, my dad will often say, oh, well, it's relatively cool, but it's still pretty hot here, kind of sweaty, especially being up here, like, all day long, not just doing YouTube, but I'm also up here often doing work for my usual job, so yeah, it's been pretty hot, so yeah, so have you gotten a chance to check out the Nintendo Direct for E3 2021, Ross? And what did you think of it?
Yeah, like I was just one of the few people who just watched it on Twitch, and remember, like, okay, guys, remember when you're watching like a main gaming presentation on Twitch or YouTube live,
Mm-hmm.
close the chat because the chat is just toxic. There are so many resident sleepers and like so many just spam like on just about any game presentation. But yeah. So, anyways, moving on.
Uh,
Um. So of course, like when from the Nintendo Direct, yeah, of course I expected Smash Brothers to be first,
mm-hmm.
but also I kind of expected Smash Brothers to also be last too, like just to announce another fighter. Um. But yeah, for this case, it's because like when I was watching it, when they announced Kazuya from Tekken,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I was like I was like kind of tepid on that announcement. I was like, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Like I knew that Tekken, well, I had a feeling Tekken was going to be in Smash at some point because Bandai Namco was helping out with the development.
Yeah.
But Kazuya, like, I played Tek, I've been playing Tekken games since like Tekken 3, and I played like all the installments. Um, like Kazuya, I thought he was more like a secondary character. But then I've been told like Kazuya is like the main character of Tekken, which is okay. Yeah, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But for me, like I thought that either Heihachi or Jin Kazama would be the fighter, even though Heihachi has like a me outfit. But yeah.
Alright.
So yeah, I'm just like kind of I'm just lukewarm. I like Tekken though. Like I'm still playing Tekken, and I plan to buy the DLC once it goes on sale. But yeah, it's fine. Yeah, like, and I also like to watch like reaction videos of other people reacting to the Smash announcements. It's mainly reactions from like people who actually play Smash, not just people who just react just because they want to film a reaction video. Like, even the people who reacted, they were like also lukewarm on it too. They're like they weren't as excited as like other announcements like Sephiroth or Minecraft Steve or Banjo Kazooie or anything like that. Yeah. Um. Let's see the other games that got announced. Uh. Well, it was nice to actually see like some gameplay footage of Shin Megami Tensei 5 from Atlas Games. Like, it's gonna be like the next big JRPG on the Switch this year, and the
Mm-hmm.
game looks fine. Like graphically, I was like really surprised by it because some like other games, like other open world games on the Switch, just look kind of drab compared to Shin Megami Tensei. So yeah, and the only like sort of similar game I played to that was the Persona series, like Persona 3, 4, and 5. So with Shin Megami Tensei, it looks interesting, but the aesthetic, I need to get used to it. Like, I'm not a total weeb. Like, sorry, weebs. Um, and let's see what else I'm also surprised by. Life is Strange. I've been playing the Life is Strange series like for a while now, or like way back then. Um, though, yeah, I was surprised that the remastered collection is coming to the Switch. So for Life is Strange 3 or Life is Strange True Colors, that game looks more like it's gonna be a cloud game because of just graphically, like it just seems too intensive for the Switch at this point. Otherwise they have to like really downgrade that game just for the Switch. Which, but hey, at least you get to play like an adventure game portable, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, no Life is Strange 2 on Switch, which is kind of weird, but I guess maybe they're gonna remaster that one like pretty soon anyway. Metroid Dread. Like, I was kind of surprised that they announced a Metroid 5. Like, I thought it was gonna be a like Metroid Prime or something, even though like that development has been rebooted. Uh, like a lot of people were excited about it, about Metroid Dread. Like I've been reading like the discussions about it, and when I first saw it, I thought like, wow, this game looks like it should have been on a 3DS like a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out that no, this game was the original idea for it was like it was like from I think 15 years ago. I think 15 more than 15 years ago. It was like sort of leaked and then canceled. So it became like some sort of like what's that word? Vaporware among like the Metroid fans for like many years. And now it's like the same development studio that made Metroid Samus Returns is making Metroid Dread, which is yeah, I trust those guys with Metroid because I played Samus Returns. That game was pretty good. There was Metroid Dread. It seems to go like close into like a horror aesthetic with an enemy that can like go after you like Mr. X in Resident Evil 2 remake, and of course the original. Um, s but yeah, it's like the first 2D Metroid games since forever, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and finally, yeah, there's like a bunch of other games like seeing more footage of that Mario golfing game, especially with like planned free updates that will include the Super Mario Odyssey content. That just looks lovely to me. I am like at first I was kind of interested in that game. Now it's a game that I just kind of want to buy now because it just
Hmm.
looks pretty fun. Yeah, and they do plan to add in like way more content, which is yeah pretty cool. Um, what else? Oh yeah, WarioWare. That's making a comeback soon. Like the last WarioWare game, I think that was like 3 to 4 years ago. So
Yeah,
for
on
this
the
one,
3DS.
having yeah.
Hmm.
So having a WarioWare game on the Switch is gonna be very lovely.
Hmm.
Because I've been playing a lot. Yeah, like way back then. Like I think back in the GameCube days, I've played a lot of WarioWare, and that game was like super damn fun. So I'm hoping like this one. I do remember there's like a customization tool, like where you can make your own mini games on I think the WarioWare on 3DS. I think I'm not sure. Someone has to remind me.
I do remember.
Um,
I actually have. There's WarioWare DIY for the original DS. Like that was the one. Like I remember making some micro games. Like I remember trying to make like a football game using it, like just for fun. But yeah, that's like when I think of like making a WarioWare game, that's like the one that comes to mind, at least to me.
yeah, and yeah, because I remember seeing like gameplay footage of like just people's creations. I feel like because Nintendo was like Super Mario Maker, why not WarioWare Maker or something? So
Yeah.
yeah, that was just like included in that upcoming WarioWare game, but I doubt it. Um, and yeah, besides those, like yeah, there's a bunch of other games like hmm, Fatal Frame and Advanced Wars got announced. So yeah, I haven't played those games. But it's nice and fun like for those fans of those games, which I don't mind at all. Um, and finally, like the Zelda content, the Hyrule Warriors DLC, which will include a Guardian as playable character and Princess Zelda riding a motorcycle, killing monsters, in the first DLC pack that's coming out, I think tomorrow actually. Yeah, I have Hyrule Warriors, and like other than the game being like not well optimized for the Switch because there's so many frame drops during battles. Uh, that game is like the DLC is fine so far, though I do need to see like the second pack if it wants my money. Because so far I'm kind of like also tepid on that season pass. And also, Nintendo also announced a Game and Watch system for the Legend of Zelda games. I think it comes with 3 games. I think, yeah, 3 of the earliest games in the Legend of Zelda series. Uh, like I'm hoping it doesn't sell out super fast. Though the Game and Watch Mario games are still on store shelves. Like I was at Best Buy the other day and I still see it, and they're
Hmm.
still trying to like get rid of it, which is kind of
Wow.
weird to be honest. Yeah, but yeah, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, actual footage of Breath of the Wild 2. And I am so disappointed by it, Bobby. You want to know why?
Tell me.
Because you don't get to play as Princess Zelda. Like I was honestly hoping you get to play as her. But then they show footage of her falling down a hole, and I'm pretty sure that's when we had to like rescue her or something again.
Hmm.
Which is like, yeah, okay, I guess. But the other thing that's like joking aside, like after that, the the sequel is like more about verticality in a way because when they show Link like dropping it from the sky, I sort of got like Skyward Sword flashbacks, a tiny bit of that, but I guess it's a new way to like actually, hmm, I guess yeah, it just looks interesting to me. So I'm just seeing where more of that goes with the traversing aspect. So judging by the footage, it seems like there's gonna be a time rewind element to it. because like it's a water droplet just like hitting the little pond or whatever, and then like just floats back up, or
Mm-hmm.
Link stopping that boulder and the boulder just rewinds itself, hitting the monsters behind it. Yeah, I think it's gonna have like some sort of time element to it, which could be interesting. Yeah, but
I
though
see.
it just seems kind of strange to like give Link like some sort of thing on his arm, some sort of like prosthetic. Kind of reminds me like that he became Venom Snake from the Metal Gear Solid 5 game. So yeah, so yeah, he became Punished Link after losing Zelda, and she fell down that hole.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, game is coming out in 2022 though, which yeah, okay. I think man, how long has this like yeah, what's the Nintendo Switch's age?
It's now like it came out in 2017, so four
Wow.
5 years.
Okay, then the Wii to Wii U was like because usually Nintendo doesn't make a new console. It'll be like
Like,
Nintendo, like some people were expecting the Nintendo Switch Pro to be announced,
mm-hmm.
but turns out there's no announcement for that. Even though
Yeah,
there's like rumors circulating that it was going to be announced, but yeah, no.
yeah. At least not yet.
Yeah. Okay. So Wii to Wii U was like 6 years.
Yeah.
So right now, yeah, it's been 5 years. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of strange. So maybe not this year, maybe like later this year. Who knows?
Hmm.
But yeah, with COVID affecting everything, like a lot of chip shortage and whatnot right now, especially with PS5s, and Xbox Series X is still being like sold out super fast.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows with a new Nintendo Switch right now?
Yeah.
There's a holidays, yeah, holidays coming up though, so
Mm-hmm.
that's something to look forward to with Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I'm just personally under the assumption that once Nintendo comes out with one console, they start working on the next one, kind of like with the 3DS. But yeah, probably because of that chip shortage, it's probably why we're not hearing any kind of announcement for whether it be a Switch Pro or Switch successor. And even if it did can't come out in time for the holidays, it makes me still a little concerned that it'll turn into a PS5 situation where it's like good luck basically when it comes to finding it. So at least to me, I kind of feel like waiting is like a bit of a blessing in disguise because who knows, maybe if it comes out after COVID, I could just like run out to GameStop like with the original Switch and like just like get one in person rather than having to like sort of like count like just like hope on the internet that please I hope that nobody like buys all of them and sells them on eBay for $1 gajillion.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
mm,
I noticed that in the chat, one of my followers, Alan. First of all, hey Alan, how you doing? And you said it's portable power, which I'm not sure what you're referring to. Were you talking about like when Ross was discussing Life is Strange or whatnot? If you're still there, I would like to hear a bit of a clarification. But what were you gonna say, Ross? Did you have more to say?
no, not really.
Oh, okay. So, is it cool if I can go into like my thoughts on E3 and maybe talk a bit about like my thoughts on some of the games that you pointed out caught my attention as well. Like you mentioned WarioWare. I think honestly that was like the one of probably the game that got me excited the most. You mentioned how you were into WarioWare during the GameCube days. For
Yeah,
I don't have my copy of Smooth Moves, but I remember Smooth Moves was like I've talked about that game like way like too many times on this channel, but it's like the one Wii game that like my family really likes. It's the one of the very few times I could remember. I remember my aunt was flying in from Chicago and saw that me and my sister were playing the Wii, and she tried out one of those games. It was that one where you have to hold the broom. Do you remember that one from Smooth Moves, Ross? where you
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
hold a balance broom on your hand. And they also, I remember like my folks also got a kick out of this like one dancing game. It was the mini Wario like sort of boss stage. So I think yeah that like so yeah I hope that WarioWare Get It Together is just as fun. I like this idea where this time you actually kind of control like the character that you're in the stage in. Like I remember in the trailer they showed like Wario, but they also showed Mona, 9 Volt, and the alien Orbulon. Is that how you say his name? I have a tough time pronouncing
Obi-Wan,
that.
Obi-Wan, Salon.
Yeah, I just remember he kind of talks like a robot in Smooth Moves. It's like he sort of talks like this, like his voice is on a computer or something. But yeah, I would say that that was like the game that probably got me excited the most. Comes out on September 10th, by the way. I could definitely see. I don't know why I missed out on the 3DS game. Like I played the demo a couple times, but never owned it. I mean, I could still pick it up if I wanted to, but I think I'll just wait for Get It Together to come out. And another game, I actually have some not copies of the game. It's not released out yet, but another game that also really got me hyped was that Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. I actually forgot that it's actually Super Monkey Ball's 20th anniversary. I brought my GameCube copies of Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2. I actually thought that it was going to be like an HD collection of Super Monkey Ball 1, 2, and Deluxe, kind of like how there was a Metal Gear HD collection, but it's actually sort of like a combination game where they're putting together like all these stages from um, Super Monkey Ball 1, 2, and Deluxe. So I think it would be really awesome to kind of jump back into those stages from those games, especially Deluxe, because Deluxe, to my knowledge, was never released on a Nintendo system. I remember when it first came out, it was released on um, the PS2 and the original Xbox. And they also said it's going to include some of the party games like Monkey Racing, Monkey Soccer, Monkey Bowling, and Monkey Baseball. I'm kind of hoping they also bring back some of the really cool games from Super Monkey Ball 2, like Monkey Shot and Monkey Dogfight. Are you familiar with those? How familiar are you with the Super Monkey Ball games, Ross?
This is the first I'm hearing of it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because I remember me and my sister had a lot of fun, and especially the music and Monkey Dogfight. It's basically this like game where you go around like shooting down like the other monkey characters. I remember the music was like so like super like hyper intense. I was like did Sega just like borrow like a music track from one of the Yakuza games for a second? So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if those two games are coming, but I think that would be awesome. Comes out October 5th. Not just for the Switch, it's also coming to PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. And yeah, like you mentioned, Mario Golf Super Rush. Actually, the very first Mario Golf game I personally played was the one on the 3DS. I still play it every now and again, and I still think it's really awesome. I basically took it as like a substitute for like Wii Sports Golf or Wii Sports Resort, since those games aren't on 3DS. That was like my substitute, and I am considering picking up Super Rush as well. Have you played the other Mario Golf games?
No, not yet.
I see.
Yeah.
I tried playing the one for. There was one on the Game Boy Advance, but I never really got into it. It's the 3DS one. I think was the first one. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And you also briefly mentioned Fatal Frame Maiden of Blackwater. It is a remastered version of the game that first came out on Wii U. I'm not super familiar with Fatal Frame, although I did beat the 3DS spin off Spirit Camera, which is kind of an awkward game because you had to use this like AR booklet in order to see the ghosts. But I really like the sort of creative game mechanics of Fatal Frame where you're going around like using like a well, not my Nikon camera, but like using this camera, and you know, you take pictures of these ghosts, and that's how you defeat them. So I thought that's it's really unique because when I think of like the survival horror genre, I think of like games where you're running around with like a sort of traditional weapon, like a gun or a baseball bat, and here's one where it's like, no, you take pictures of the ghosts. So it is a game I'd be interested in. I kind of wish they would release the past Fatal Frame games, like the first four, on Switch, but I don't know if that's going to be happening anytime soon. I think they brought the second game to the original Wii, at least in Europe, where it's called Project Zero. But it is Made in a Blackwater is a game that I'm personally interested in. I mean, I like the premise of the Fatal Frame games, so it might be
Yeah,
one that
maybe.
I'm picking up.
Yeah, maybe like there's gonna be. Maybe they're like gauging the reaction, like just because they remastering a game from the Wii
Yeah.
U, the console that failed and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Yeah, and just to see like if people are still interested in Fatal Frame, and if that game is a success on the Switch, then yeah, who knows? Maybe they're gonna remaster or remake the other games too, and then re-release them on the Switch or somewhere. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, though I was kind of surprised they didn't announce like any sort of Nintendo exclusives. Like I think one of the Fatal Frame games, like you could dress up your character as Samus or Princess Peach for some reason, because it
Ooh.
was like because it was supposed to be a constellation because like the Japanese version of Fatal Frame could
Mm-hmm.
dress up these high school girls in bikinis or something.
What the heck?
So in the West, they like yeah had to remove it because Western audiences would have their minds explode. So yeah,
mm-hmm.
of course, Western audiences only get those Nintendo character outfits.
I see. Oh, I see
So
what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, I'm wondering if those will come back like for the game on the Switch. We for that jump scare games.
Yeah. Or if anything, maybe I'm kind of thinking maybe if it's successful, maybe they might even make like a Fatal Frame 6 down the road. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know.
that can
Yeah.
happen too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I kind of feel like when it comes to like Koei Tecmo's games, Fatal Frame is kind of one of the lesser known franchises. Because when I think Koei Tecmo, I think of like Ninja Gaiden, Dead or Alive, even like the Dynasty Warriors games, and Fatal Frame is like the one in the background where it's like I exist and some people like me. I mean, I know it's like it is like well known franchise. I remember when Classic Game Room actually it was CGR Undertow. They covered the first game on I think it was the PS2. So I do know that Fatal Frame has its fans. It's just that in comparison to a lot of other Koei Tecmo's franchises, it's kind of like the one game where it's like every once in a while it comes around, and
I
yeah.
mean, Bobby, you're forgetting about Koei Tecmo's biggest game that was announced at E3. The game that's all about chaos and just full of chaos. Uh,
Which one was that? I
Final
didn't.
Fantasy Origins.
Wait, that's what Koei Tecmo?
From the people who made Nioh, and like
Oh,
it's still like combat. Yeah, no,
okay, I
no
see. Whoa.
all the bad writing. Yeah,
Is it like Square Enix teaming up with Koei Tecmo?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
wow.
Because Koei Tecmo is familiar with like action games and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but it has that Square Enix touch. Like some of those people work or like have their dirty hands all over that game, which resulted in that hilarious reveal.
Mm-hmm.
With
I see.
yeah, that game was. But the demo came out and people really liked the combat and whatnot. So Koei Tecmo they knew what they were doing. Just
Yeah,
that everything else is just a mess. It needs to be fixed.
I
So
see.
yeah,
Yeah.
like so yeah, with Koei Tecmo, yeah, like you said, I'm only familiar with just like the hack and slash games, but not like the horror games. So
Yeah.
Fatal Frame is something that in the presentation.
Um, The other one, that's actually the last one that I was going to bring up, was Metroid Dread, which I'm kind of cautiously interested, not because I think it's going to be bad, it's just that I haven't played a ton of Metroid. It's kind of one of those games where it's like, I think it's something that I'd get into, it's just that haven't had many opportunities to pick up the game. I do have a copy of Samus Returns, though. I got through like one of the first stages of the original Metroid Prime because I think I even have like a Metroid Prime Trilogy on my Wii U because they re-released it on the Nintendo eShop, but I kind of put it down because I'd rather just play with like the more traditional controls. I didn't like how because it's the Wii, it's like, I mean, not that I hate motion controls with the Wii. It's just that these days I'm just like, I just kind of want like traditional like sort of controls with when it comes to Metroid, rather than having to, like get up and like wave a Wii remote around to like aim and shoot. I'm just too used to Doom and Wolfenstein to do that. But I mean, that's basically. And I mean, I remember seeing Metroid Dread in the trailer. And yeah, like you were mentioning, it's basically a return to that side-scrolling 2D style, and it seems to have like a sort of more darker element. So it is a game that I'm kind of like cautiously kind of interested in the sense that it's probably like it is kind of like new territory for me because I haven't really played a lot of Metroid before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I like to think that they had to like restart it or like bring Metroid Dread out from like that grave.
Uh huh.
Just because Metroid Prime got delayed by like who knows how many years right now.
Yeah.
So Nintendo has to keep that like that brand alive or keep it like fresh in people's minds. And yeah, and it was kind of surprising that the game is coming out this October.
Yeah.
I was
Like
not
pretty
expecting
soon.
that. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, for full price too, which is also shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, was also two amiibos that got quickly sold out online. I was trying to buy them.
Oh dear.
Yeah, yeah. People really like amiibo. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's up with that?
Yeah.
Um, so with Metroid Dread, I forgot what I was gonna say. Um, it's a game that, yeah, yeah, yeah. So Kyle Cesar Marquez said in your comments, it's funny the time when Metroid Dread first was a rumor.
Um.
Yeah, yeah, like yeah. I'm not like familiar with all the Nintendo rumors other than like the consoles.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing like the rumors for that, like people getting excited that the rumors turned out to be true, just like after so many years. Yeah, it was interesting to be honest. Um, and I'm proud of those Metroid fans for like actually having like like another Metroid game, like another 2D Metroid game. Um, oh yeah, funny anecdote. There was also a rumor going around that Samus, like Epic Games, they wanted Samus to be in Fortnite because Fortnite they had like the PlayStation and Microsoft representation. So yeah, Epic wanted to balance it out by having Samus in their like sci-fi season. But Nintendo being Nintendo, like um, they couldn't like come up with a good enough deal for it
Oh.
because some people were speculating like Samus, like maybe Nintendo doesn't want Samus to be playable on PlayStation, PC, and Xbox.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stuff like
Ooh.
that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and people like they cited the example like Rocket League, um, like the Mario and and Samus cars in Rocket League. Like,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you can't see it in like other platforms, but for like Xbox and PlayStation cars, you can see those exclusive cosmetic cars on like other platforms.
I see.
So yeah. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
Nintendo just being like really conservative with their brand, which just kind of sucks to be honest.
Yeah. It's
And
just the
but
kind.
and
Yeah.
it's good too. Yeah,
Yeah. It's just
yeah.
the kind of thing where it's
But
like, why am
Samus
I not
would have,
surprised?
yeah, yeah. Samus would have fit so well in Fortnite.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know a lot of people don't like. I know like some people they don't like Fortnite due to very arbitrary reasons, and who cares? Um, but just the idea of Samus fighting like Kratos and Master Chief is
Mm-hmm.
just and John Wick and yeah, and Marshmallow and Travis Scott and like all those random crossovers. That would have
Mm-hmm.
been like so wacky and so amazing at the same time. But yeah, just that's just a missed opportunity right there, Nintendo. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a thing where it's
Yeah.
like when I hear things like, they don't want Samus in Fortnite, or how I remember hearing a story that they didn't want like influencers co-streaming the Nintendo Direct. I'm just like, welcome to Nintendo. It's just the kind of thing that happens. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
That
yeah.
that's the weird thing though. Like they only posted it like on the Japanese Twitter account. They didn't post it on the Nintendo of America Twitter account.
Mhm.
What's up with that? But people are
Yeah.
still co-stream. Like people still reacted to it.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's Nintendo is just like very kind of backwards. Yeah, it's just content creators too.
Yeah.
Like
I
even
mean,
on like YouTube.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that like people can now do like let's plays like of their games in like a more like conventional way. It's not like what it was in the past where they were like, "Hey, you want to get paid to stream our games? You have to sign up for our very strange program." But yeah, I still get kind of like that's why I didn't do like a reaction to their Nintendo Direct because I knew they were gonna do something like what happened about when they were like, no co-streams, you can't co-stream EMR event.
Yeah. Maybe they were worried about like copyrighted music or something. Like yeah, I
Hmm.
don't know. It's strange,
Or
but the
or
only
are
copyrighted music that played was like what during the Just Dance reveal, which maybe only soccer moms cared about.
yeah,
But other than that, yeah, it's everything else was fine. It was the direct. Just
yeah.
it was very co-streamable for the most part.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I could think of is like, were they worried that like one of their like Nintendo bastards were gonna like badmouth like, let's say somebody who doesn't like WarioWare, and they were like, we can't have that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know.
Mm, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Like I don't know about you, but a lot of people badmouth the Pokemon like announcing Pokemon Unite.
Hmm.
Maybe that made Nintendo like made the head spin.
Hmm.
I don't know. There was
Eh.
also Pokemon Unite gameplay reveal or like gameplay showcase like I think yesterday, but I don't care about that.
Eh.
That's also coming out onto Switch, but it's not exactly the big like the big game for me.
I see. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not really up my street either.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was anyways like they said that the yeah, it was games coming out this holiday. Um, what do you think is like the big holiday game for the Switch? Because to me, I feel like that's the Pokemon game, the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remake,
Hmm.
reboot or remaster, whatever it is.
Yeah, I
And
mean, do you mean in terms of like what I like me personally, or like for more like sort of general like audience? Like, what's the big one?
I think for general audience, and also maybe like personally for you, like what do you think you're gonna buy this holiday or this fall?
Hmm.
Heck, maybe not buy anything. Maybe just save your money and just wait for a sale. I
Yeah,
hope you
which
want.
yeah, I mean, I would say that's probably the smarter thing to do. But when the holidays come, it's
Well,
like,
hypothetically speaking, if you have money, if you got that sweet GameStop or AMC stock money, and could buy like any game you want.
yeah,
Oh my God, I could put money into AMC. Like I was looking at that stock, like like it was at $9, man, and $13. I should put money in it, but I thought it was just going to go down, and then just keep going up and
mm,
up and up and up and up to $60.
uh,
Yeah. Oh well. Anyways, so yeah, hypothetically speaking, what game would you buy this holiday that was
um,
announced during the direct or shown during the direct?
hmm. I mean, I think me personally, the one where I'm like pretty like almost certain I'm gonna get is admittedly the WarioWare game. Although it's mainly because it's from like a nostalgia perspective because like me and my sister are huge fans of WarioWare Smooth Moves. I would this is probably my pick for maybe a more general audience. Would probably be something like Metroid Dread. The only reason I didn't pick it personally is because I'm still it's the game where I feel like I'm gonna have to like figure it out a bit first before I can say for sure. Yeah, this is something I'm really into. I only say that because it's more of like a sort of it's more of like a sort of curious observation for me. So I don't know. What do you for you what would you say is like going to be the holiday pick for you?
For me,
Yeah,
Pokemon.
Pokemon.
It's just Pokemon, always Pokemon. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because Pokemon is all like Pokemon Sword and Shield. I think it's one of the top-selling Switch games of all time.
Oh.
So yeah, I think it is. I gotta look it up. But with Pokemon Diamond Pearl remake and also with Pokemon Legends coming out like I think in January or February of next year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, Pokemon is gonna be sort of a big seller. The only thing that's like kind of turning some people away from the comments I've seen online,
Mm-hmm.
or the just pretty much like the whole aesthetic of the remake. Like, um, but I think like for some people the graphics don't matter as long as like the gameplay is good to them.
Yeah, which
So
I'm honestly in that boat as well. I would say the idea of like remastering Diamond and Pearl to me, it would be the most appealing Pokemon game from like a kind of personal perspective because I grew up playing Pokemon Pearl and Platinum. I think I got pretty far, and especially Platinum. But yeah, because I still have a lot of sort of nostalgic feeling, like when I hear like the music from like Jubilife City and Orenburg City and all the Pokemon. I mean, Piplup is still one of my favorite starters, so it would be the one for me at least. Of all the Pokemon games to remaster, that would be like the one where I'm like, oh yeah, that would be a really great one for me.
yeah, and I feel like yeah the game's coming out on November 19th, so that's pretty good. Um, hmm. Yeah, I haven't grown like Diamond and Pearl was when I just started just kind of growing out of Pokemon and
Uh
just
huh.
going to play other games.
Mhm.
Um, so maybe like just playing this remake, just don't feel like incredibly fresh for me.
Mhm.
So yeah, I might, yeah, I'm definitely might, well, well, yeah, I might pick it up at some point. Maybe not on launch day, maybe like somewhere down the line,
Mhm.
eventually, hopefully.
I see.
So yeah, I'm just hoping like besides just the graphics, I'm hoping if there are any other notable differences or additions that game has, like maybe connectivity with like the Pokemon Home, we can like transfer your Pokemon in between like Diamond and Pearl into like Pokemon Sword and Shield or something, or like from Pokemon Go into Diamond and Pearl, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, Pokemon is still like a big hit.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's what I expect. That's gonna be the hot holiday seller. So and for me personally, yeah, it's the same thing. Is I'm definitely gonna get that game. It's not on the holidays. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
wait until the price drops.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, just in terms of like, I guess I would kind of, I was wanting to like ask you overall what you thought of the conference because we were talking a bit earlier about how this seems to be sort of what happens during the pandemic, where, um, well, actually, I'll just let you go into it, Devad. So overall, what did you think of the direct?
It was fine-ish. Like I was very lukewarm on everything. And there was nothing that like made me super excited. There was just only some games that just made me go, okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, that's cool. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, what's next? Okay, and then after that, I just like closed the stream, and then I went about my day. I went outside, touched some grass, frolicked, whatever, and then I forgot most about the stream.
Mm.
Until like you called me up and then asked me to do this uh, interview, and now I had to like remind myself what I saw. Um, so yeah, because the thing is just with the Nintendo Direct, and pretty much the rest of E3 in general, uh, you definitely felt the effects of COVID. Like it's not like last year where like the games uh just like because everyone's working from home and you just have to like yeah, everyone's working from home like for the past year or so already.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, a lot of games there weren't like a lot of big hits or something like that, if you know what I mean. Some games are just like sort of remakes or remasters or just brought in from the ground up, like Metroid Dread, just comes out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, there was not something like that would exactly excite me. For the rest of this E3, like everything in this E3, was just kind of bad-ish for me.
Mm.
Except for the Microsoft conference, that was pretty good because they actually treated the conference like a conference
Mm-hmm.
opposed to every other conference. But yeah, in comparison, like Nintendo Direct and Microsoft actually did pretty fine, and maybe Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest too. Um, the PC Gamer Fest, I was just like laughably bad, just for like marketing, like just the writing of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else. I'm trying to remember other conferences. They're also forgettable for me.
Yeah.
The Future Game Fest, hosted by Troy Baker and Laura Bailey. I forgot what games they announced. Let's see what else. Uh, I don't know press conferences. What do?
I
Oh
mean,
yeah, I guess Bandai Namco had a press conference. They only showed one game, and like I saw on Twitter, like they a lot of people were like, "What? They only showed one game and that's it." And it was not even a game like a lot of people were excited about. It was like for the choice-based game, the Dark Pictures anthology game,
I
which
see.
I guess, yeah. Oh yeah, Capcom. Capcom had their conference, which was kind of weird to be honest. They just show off that Phoenix Wright game, which is coming to Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not really a Phoenix Wright game. It's the Great Ace Attorney game, which is more of a visual novel detective game than being a game about like being a lawyer. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um yeah, the focus on the gameplay like portion like way too much in the conference because most Ace Attorney fans already know what that game is. And also just like having just like text and like just being like the gameplays was just very slow and there's like a lot of Resident Sleeper emotes in the Twitch chat
Mm-hmm.
when that was happening. So yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's also Monster Hunter Stories 2, which is exclusively coming out to Switch. Um, Capcom seems to have a deep love with making trailers for that game because that's like maybe the fifth or sixth trailer I've seen for that game.
Sheesh.
So yeah, it's kind of weird to be honest. It's the game is pretty much like Pokemon in a way, where you fight monsters in turn-based battles, and I think you can capture them. And the game works on a rock paper scissors type of feel too, which is also kind of strange, but yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Other than that, let's see, it was Capcom. Yeah, they didn't announce that much games. For the Switch games, yeah, like those two games, I think I might pick up the Great Ace Attorney because I played all the Ace Attorney games on the DS and 3DS, so I can't wait for that.
Uh-huh.
Uh, And then every other press conference was just like, yeah. But yeah, it was Nintendo Direct. Um, it was pretty fine, yeah. My favorite part of the Nintendo Direct was probably the part where Kazuya was tossing the random Nintendo fighters off the cliff.
Yeah.
Then it just ends with like Kirby. Uh, he tosses Kirby off the cliff,
Mhm.
and then like he was like wondering how what happened to Kirby, and then
Mhm.
you see in the background like Kirby's just flying away. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that was pretty much like my whole take on the whole Nintendo Direct and a little bit of E3 in general.
Uh-huh.
Right. Yeah. So how about you, Bobby?
Yeah. So overall, I thought the direct I was kind of on. I don't want to say disappointed because I actually thought that there was going to be like huge backlash over the direct because prior to the announcement, I remember like seeing like tweets of people were hoping for things like maybe we'll see more of Metroid Prime 4 and Breath of the Wild 2. Maybe we'll get Mario Kart 9 and a Nintendo Switch Pro. And I'm just saying, there's no way they could like announce like release dates and like feature
People have
all
like
these
way too high
things.
expectations. Like
Yeah.
for every single press conference, there's always like a slew of rumors and supposed leaks.
Yeah.
And then they get disappointed or mad when none of those things turn out to be true. Like, dude, those are rumors and leaks. Like
Yeah.
plans can change. Or
Yeah.
yeah, if it's true, yeah, plans can change, or it's just a troll or it's fake. Yeah.
Yeah.
So set your expectations at the bottom of a barrel like what I did.
Uh-huh.
But even then for me I was still kind of like disappointed. So whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, I honestly was just thinking if even one of those things like gets like even like substantial announcement, that would be really incredible. So I was just like, but I was still kind of surprised by the response. It seemed like people were like pretty happy with things like Metroid Dread and kind of Zelda. I know there's people who are disappointed that there's not going to be too much else outside of what Nintendo's already announced. I remember that part where AG Alnuma was like, "We don't have much more like Zelda games to announce beyond what we talked about." And like I was just like, "Oh, and it's the 35th anniversary of the Zelda franchise." But I think, like you said, it is like a sign of like when coronavirus, the pandemic is going around, people working from home, unfortunately. And I understand, yes, it's to keep people safe. I'm, working at home myself at my search engine optimization job. But yeah, one of the things to come out of that is there's not going to be as much announcements, or like it's not going to be like as epic an E3. I think that many of those people were really hoping for. I was admittedly kind of hoping for maybe we'll get to see a Switch Pro, but by the time they got to like the second half of the conference, I'm like, there's not going to be a Switch Pro because if there was, that would probably take up like even more of the direct because they would have to talk about like new games for that system. It's almost like launching a new console. So overall, it's just kind of like it was just the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, it's all right. I got pretty excited when I saw the announcements for WarioWare and Super Monkey Ball. I do think that it is a pretty cool like E3. Like it's all right for those who wanted to see Nintendo bring back some of their I don't like using the term lesser known, but franchises like WarioWare and even Advance Wars, which I'm not really into Advance Wars, but I was pretty happy to see, hey, Advance Wars is coming back because I do really sympathize with. I see people on Twitter make those tweets saying, which of these Nintendo franchises like Earthbound, the 1080 snowboarding game, and Sin and Punishment, and F Zero. Which of those games would you like to see come back? So, I think for that crowd, there's a couple like pretty big announcements. I guess by extension, Metroid Dread counts. But yeah, I mean, I basically just kind of took it as I figured it wasn't going to be nearly as big a direct as I think a lot of people were like hoping for. Not that it's bad to hope, but I'm not even sure if like I could even. I feel like the only one that was shrouded in rumors were Switch Pro, and now I'm just hearing like Metroid Dread. Everything else just seemed like it was based on like nothing but like hope, like oh please, I want a Mario Kart 9 and that sort of thing. And I'm like, does that even count as a rumor? But overall, I would say that it was just kind of like like sort of direct. I mean, it's okay, but when I think of like a really exciting Nintendo Direct, I think of directs like E3 2009 where they announced all those Wii games, E3 2010 when they announced the 3DS, even E3 2011, which I think some people kind of consider because of how they announced the Wii U. But I still remember seeing all those 3DS games like get like all those trailers like Luigi's Mansion 2, Kid Icarus Uprising, Star Fox 64 3D, and Mario Kart 7. So at least it had that. So kind of in comparison to those years, it was just kind of like to me. Not great, but not it's too super terrible. You know, I mean, I think I would have disliked it even more if it just turned into one of those like directs where they just focused on like one game or something like that. But overall, I thought it was okay at best.
Yeah, because the Switch is in its fifth year, right?
Yeah,
Fifth year.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, it kind of depends on how you
So
count it. Yeah.
nearing the end of potentially its lifespan, potentially until hopefully the new they announce a new Nintendo Switch. But
Yeah.
who knows when they're gonna announce it?
Mhm.
Maybe next year, maybe like this summer. Who knows? Um, but other than that, like other than this direct being like kind of yeah, like they keep saying tepid or lukewarm, it's yeah, it's just fine. It's there's nothing for me to be like super excited about, but there's also nothing for me to be super disappointed about in a way.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I pretty much
I
agree. I
mean,
noticed our buddy Kyle. What did you say? By the way, Nintendo is very perfectionist to bring games of quality to the public, so it makes sense that some of their games have a long time without new information. Which, yeah, I mean, like I don't want to see like what happened. I don't want to see like a Cyberpunk 2077 or Fallout 76 situation happen with like Metroid Prime 4. One of the things that I really like about Nintendo is it seems like very like sort of like internalized in their business where they're like, hey, if we're not ready to and we can't release this game, then we're gonna have to delay it. Like I still think back to even like E3 2013 when Satoru Iwata was like, we need some more time on these couple of Wii games. Like I think Wii Fit U was one of them. I mean, I know it's a kind of a weird game to bring up, but I've give the man a lot of respect for saying that. So I'm just like I don't want to see like that kind of thing happen with Metroid Prime 4. It's like, hey, we wait for years. Oh no, it's broken, and then it needs a lot of work.
the nicest thing about the like that announcement of the delay is
Mm-hmm.
that people responded so positively to it
Yeah.
that you think it would cause a ripple effect throughout the entire industry, but no, it didn't.
Yeah.
Because we got Cyberpunk out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, um,
Yeah, I
yeah, I
think.
think Shigeru Miyamoto once said that a delayed game, I mean, something about like a game that's bad will forever stay bad if it's released,
Yeah.
but a delayed game will you can still fix it and it'll get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
Cyberpunk. Or like if you try to rush out games, of course that's just gonna forever be known as like the game that like got screwed up and by people who by like the executives and the business people who like decided that game that should be out right now to take advantage of like holiday sales and whatnot. That's why I usually distrust most games that come out in the holidays because that's when like the studios or like the publishers they have to like get that game out like right now on the holiday no matter
Mm-hmm.
what. Really no delays whatsoever. And thus that's like either the game doesn't contain a lot of content or is the game is kind of boring or if the game is like super buggy. So yeah.
Yeah. And what else to say, Kyle? Chibi Robo is also an underrated series that people want.
Not
I
watching the stream, Kyle.
Yeah, thank
I'm just
you.
kidding.
I really enjoy when um, when you guys show up for these streams, and you said 4 to 5 years is the life of the Switch. It's funny how like which of the executives was like the Switch is in its fifth year, and I was like fifth year. I thought it was fourth. So I guess in
Yeah.
a way it's like it kind of depends on how you count it, but. I get what he was saying. It was like 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and now we're in 2021. So, from that perspective, that's 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed like the Switch is now lagging behind like I have an Android tablet right now, the latest version.
Yeah.
Um and I have Fortnite on it
Mm
because I don't like Fortnite that much, but I still kind of play the game. So
hmm.
um and Fortnite on my tablet looks so much better than Fortnite on the Switch. And that's
I
when I
see.
had a feeling like Nintendo needs to play catch up right now to
Mm
like the latest because I think they're using Android technology too.
hmm. Yeah,
So yeah,
it's widely believed that it's the Tegra X1, which was a chip that came out in like what 2015 or like the middle of the last decade. So by now, and I mean, it's still impressive that they could get games like Doom 2016 to like run on the Switch as well as they can. Although it does like with games like Doom Eternal, there are times in the game I mentioned before where there's parts of the game where it almost looks like the frame rate drops by like half when it looks like it should be like super smooth, and it looks like they're going slow, but. There are those couple times in games like that,
yeah, Panic
or
Button is really slipping on the ports now because these games are just getting better. Like I tried to play Apex Legends on a Switch,
mm-hmm.
and then immediately, like after the first game, I uninstalled it and went back to my PC
I see.
just to play the
Yeah,
game. Yeah,
so
because yeah, just so pretty much like with these ports now, like even Guardians of the Galaxy was announced for the Switch in the Nintendo Direct,
mm-hmm.
and that game is a cloud-based game, which no, why? Cloud-based games, yeah, no, thank you. Because like even if you buy it, like you don't really own it. Like the developer can like just remove the game from the cloud if they want to, or maybe eventually, but who knows when that's coming.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's one of the downsides because what happens like 5 to 6 years from now, when especially like if a new system comes out, like if a Switch successor, they could just say, "Oh, we're gonna discontinue cloud support for the Switch because it's last gen, so who
Or
cares?"
what
So
happened was
yeah.
like Telltale Games when they went under and they lost like all the licenses.
Mm-hmm.
They announced that all the games that you own in your digital library,
Mm-hmm.
they'll remove it from your digital library. And it was
Wow.
so like, why? No. So it's cloud-based gaming, like, yeah. Even stuff like Stadia, like, I do not trust it at all. Like, oh, you want me to buy a game that I don't own? That I don't really own, that I can't, like, play it when I'm, like, 60-year old and, like, showing it to my grandkids? Then I turn on the cloud-based game and it turns out it's been offline for, like, 40 years. Or, like, 55 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Um, So, yeah, what was it? Oh yeah, so it's like ports and whatnot. Eventually the Switch does have to it needs to get a like upgrade, like maybe by maybe next year or so. But who knows?
Yeah.
Like with COVID and everything, yeah, it's definitely gonna be a while. Like it's not
Mm-hmm.
like a PS5 or a an Xbox Series X in a way.
Yeah, at least like a system that could handle like what's funny is that I remember when the Switch was coming out and there were all these rumors about what kind of hardware it has. I was kind of like, "Oh, so it's not going to get like PS4 or Xbox One kind of games because it doesn't have the hardware." But then when games like Doom 2016 and Wolfenstein 2 came out, and while they're not like I mean, they're not pristine quality. I mean, I've played the PS4 version of Doom using PlayStation Now, and even that looks a lot better than Doom 2016. I realized it's not that the Switch needs to be like on the same. It needs at least hardware that's capable enough to like handle those kind of games. And I'm kind of hoping, like, I mean, I don't. I mean, I know there's rumors that Nvidia is working with Nintendo again. What I'm kind of also hoping is, especially now that like Apple's going through their processor transition, and since I'm not saying that like, they're gonna like work with Apple, like that's not gonna happen. But I'm hoping that maybe since now it's been several years, that maybe Nvidia and Nintendo could work together to make a much more not just powerful chip, but one that's more efficient. Because I'm still kind of concerned about the hardware issues that some people have with the Switch, like the bending and cracking. I don't know if I told you this, but did I tell you me and my sister we had to actually replace the back of our Switch because it cracked. So we ended up picking up this like a replacement back from Etsy and slapping it on our current Switch as kind of a way to sort of like spruce up the appearance of our Switch because yeah, that's not fun.
Bobby.
Yeah, I mean just
Uh,
yeah, I mean I yeah.
it hurts me, Bobby. It hurts me to see your Switch like that,
Yeah,
and it
so
probably hurts Reggie too.
yeah we had some of the cracking and bending issues like on our personal Switch, which I know like some would say that's what you get for being a first time adopter, and I'm just like, yep, that's what happens when I'm on YouTube. Is like it's just risk that we have to take. So what else did Kyle said? Because Nintendo has to be transparent to the public. I think what he was getting at is that Nintendo tends to be transparent when they delay games. Kind of like when I think it was Shinya Takahashi when he said in the video, "Hey, we have to like start development over on Metroid Prime 4, and we're going to work with Retro on this game." And he also agrees on and he says like the whole thing with cloud gaming is why he prefers physical media compared to all the stuff that's going on in the cloud.
Yeah, and also just like the difference between physical media and just digital is just like night and day, pretty much. Like not just like the whole situation with Telltale Games, but also just like that feeling of just holding the game in your hands, in your
Yeah.
physical hands, and just like then popping the disc in and then also like sharing the game with like other people.
Mhm.
Um, so another issue is like you gotta like with most games nowadays, you just gotta install it like on a PlayStation 4 or on Xbox. Just kind of like, come on, just pop it in and let me play now.
Yeah.
That's on the Switch is like very nice sometimes, rather
Mhm.
than having to download a patch. So
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so with Nintendo gotta be transparent that public understand their position. Yeah, that's what I noticed with the Metroid Prime not Metroid Prime dump. The Metroid Dread reveal.
Mhm.
Like the Metroid code creator, he actually acknowledged um that the game was leaked. He doesn't say it was leaked. He does mention like it was in like the back burner or something. It was shelved.
Mhm.
Like he actually admitted that it was shelved,
Oh.
which was surprising. Like he couldn't, he doesn't need to say that, but he did
Mhm.
because but he also clarified like why they had to shelve it was because like they couldn't get the game play system to work out as well as they hoped, so that's why they had to shelve it.
Mhm.
So I was wondering like what he meant by that. Like like I like it could be like maybe the horror aspect of the game where you get like chased by an enemy that you cannot kill,
Uh
or
huh.
maybe it's like just maybe like just the general gameplay. Like who knows? Is also it's like vague but also transparent at the same time.
Mhm.
Which yeah, but oh
I
well.
mean, it's certainly not something I would expect like somebody from Nintendo to like even like say to like that degree. It's like that was kind of surprising to me. It's like yeah, we even like had this like project like sitting in the background. We just couldn't really figure it out until now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Nintendo CEO told us to just like find a Metroid game to pump out like on the Switch,
Mhm.
and we had this little Metroid game that's like hiding in like this big warehouse like the Ark of the Covenant. Just just we just get it out there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like another Nintendo Vaporware that's like hiding out somewhere that's like waiting to come out into the public.
Uh huh.
You
I don't
know?
know. I'm thinking like this is just me being a fanatic, but I'm just thinking maybe that Earthbound game they were supposedly working on with Namco now has a chance. But I mean, I don't think so. Oh, because the Earthbound creator, I think Shigesato Itoi was like, oh, that's it. I'm not doing another. Like, I'm done with like Earthbound 3 games. That's it, basically. But
Earthbound games are such a niche. Like I watched
yeah,
a couple of gameplay videos of it.
yeah,
Like Angry Video Game Nerd and Scott the Woz. Like that game is such a it's a huge niche, and I
yeah.
am not surprised why. Like the whole fandom is just like they really want Mother 3, they really want Earthbound 4, but yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Admittedly, I've been
But it is unique.
watching. I've been watching a lot of because I have no idea how to get that fan translation to work on my computer, but I've been watching a lot of a lot of the gameplay of the fan translation of Mother 3, and without getting like too specific, I'm admittedly one of those people that's kind of like crossing my fingers. I even kind of jokingly wanted to like I was even considering starting off the stream by saying, and once again, there's no Mother 3, so eh, but who knows? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm even like sort of like dressed up in this like weird kind of way where like I'm wearing like the cap from like my NES cosplay, but my shirt is actually of like Donkey Kong. Like literally right before the stream, I was trying to figure out what I was gonna wear. I was gonna go with this Galaga shirt, but then when I saw I had this Donkey Kong one lying around, I was like, hey, Donkey Kong. Um, since this, I was intending to focus the stream on Nintendo. I was like, hey, why not? So, but yeah,
Yeah. I mean I got my shirt. The also from Uniqlo.
uh huh.
Like your Galaga shirt, my Mario
Oh,
shirt. It has the rainbows on it.
uh huh.
Sometimes when I go outside, I'm kind of afraid because I'm afraid of getting approached. But so far, I got one person compliment my shirt because I
Mhm.
think they're a gamer like me. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty nice. I like the colors,
Mhm.
and also it's Pride Month, so yeah, why not? Um, so other than that, like yeah, it was Mother 3. I'm like, do you think there's just like one guy out there who just like he gets mad like after every single E3 or after every single Nintendo Direct, he just gets mad because he always waits for a Mother 3 announcement, and then he just goes online and just complains about it. Like that it was the worst Nintendo Direct. So the next one, and then he says that's the worst.
Yeah. I mean, I always kind
And
of
it's just like
assumed with just how like
people just like, oh,
Yeah, I mean, I always just assume with how fanatical people could get. I mean, people freak out when they hear like the game they're waiting for is being delayed and things like that. So I was just kind of like, it's kind of like a unspoken rule in me that there's always going to be like fanatics in every fandom. So, because like I always think about how how I also like cover a lot of cartoon shows on my
yeah,
channel. I think about all those people who are like, where's that new season of Star vs. the Forces of Evil? Where's the new season of Infinity Train? So I always just assume there's somebody out there in like the Earthbound Mother fandom who's probably like that, where it's like, once again, there's no Mother 3 at E3. It's the worst one ever, and that sort
an
of thing.
extremist. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Mm-hmm.
crazed extremist who thinks that an entertainment product is the entire life.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I always just like think in the Nintendo, especially Nintendo fan, there's always like two kinds of those people, like, waiting and hoping. There's people who really want Mother 3, and then not everybody who's like this, but there's also like people who, are excited to see who's the next Super Smash Brothers character. I still remember there's this one YouTube channel who films these events at like Nintendo New York, the store in New York, where everybody gets together to see the new Nintendo Direct. And I remember there was this one where somebody kept on like blurting out Smash, like Smash, and just like hoping for like so I always just imagine there are those two kind of people like in the Nintendo fandom.
Yeah, yeah, I enjoy watching those videos. I always enjoy watching those videos,
Mm-hmm.
but if you ever like tell me to go there to like participate in the audience, I would not do it.
Oh, I see.
Because it's just like just too loud. And also just like maybe I mean it is fun. I mean watching it is fun, but otherwise like being in it.
Mm-hmm.
And plus you gotta pay for my trip to New York City, so there's that too.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah. And
but yeah, no. But yeah, I hope those reactions come back because the Minecraft Steve announcement, oh man, that would have been so perfect watching the Nintendo store
yeah.
when that happened. But yeah, for everything else, yeah, it's just this E3, this Nintendo Direct. Um, like all the reactions I've seen to it is just like it's kind of like yeah, just kind of like okay, like everyone who reacted, they were like kind of like sort of a flat line, like me. They're
I
like,
see.
Yeah, okay, yeah, this game looks pretty cool. Hmm. Oh, Kazooie Smash, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just like it's not like Minecraft Steve where everyone was like screaming and just like excited and like jumping out of the chairs now. So yeah, it was this E3 and Nintendo Directs. I'm hoping that the real Nintendo Direct and E3 will come back next year, but who
Yeah.
knows? Because uh, like vaccines got rolled out. Everyone's been getting the vaccines. Have you gotten your vaccine?
Mm-hmm. Both of them. You?
I hope so. That's what my mom was telling me. So okay, Moderna, Pfizer, or Johnson & Johnson?
Um, my family had me get Moderna for both.
Okay, good. I got Moderna.
Okay.
I hope. Yeah. So yeah, with all the vaccines and whatnot, like even Jeff Keighley announced at the Summer Games Fest that the Game Awards are finally going to be in person again, like later this year,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting how he's going to do it. Um, so yeah, it was Nintendo Direct and like E3 in general, like game development wise, I don't. Maybe they might bounce back. Like, maybe it's gonna take like another year because some studios are like slowly transitioning back into the offices now.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I just hope that E3 because E3 is just like the main place for like just like all these exciting announcements and whatnot. Even when some of those games turn out to be huge disappointments or huge craps, like Cyberpunk or Fallout 76, we're still like kind of excited to like watch these game announcements. And with Nintendo Direct, um, I always feel like Nintendo Direct, like when they transitioned like into a digital only, um, I mean, yeah, they were ahead of their time too. Like, who knew like everyone would be going digital only? But with Nintendo Direct, like, yeah, I always see them as like the little scrappy underdogs, even though they're still pretty big in themselves. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, with their games, like, um, even though I'm like kind of just lukewarm on it, like the games they announced and they shown off, it's it's all interesting, and I enjoy that some of these games are finally coming to the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just my whole take on it. What about yours, Bobby?
I mean, yeah, so it's just kind of, yeah. I mean, I know some people say that, like, OE3 is slowly starting to become irrelevant with things like how Sony no longer does big presentations at E3 anymore, but I'm more in the boat of as long as, like, companies like Nintendo and Microsoft, as long as they show up with some really big announcements, then that's what really matters to me, because I still see it as, like, the really big, like, convention where some of the biggest announcements in gaming get announced. I know there's things like how I remember the Xbox Series X was unveiled not at E3, but it was unveiled at the Game Awards, and then the Switch itself was first announced as the Switch in like an online announcement back in like the second half of 2016. So maybe not everything these days, but still some pretty big stuff. And yeah, I mean, I'm thinking because like I'm also like because I know that my own company at the search engine job is saying hey we're planning to go back to the office soon. So I could feel that these companies are slowly starting to transition back. I mean I kind of feel like that's basically the best way to sum up uh, coming out of the coronavirus pandemic is that it feels kind of slow. I mean, things are happening with vaccines, and these events are really slowly starting to come back, but it's not like an immediate thing where it's like, boom, Comic Con is back on, and things like that. So it's still an event that I still look forward to. I mean, I've been following E3 on and off for would be maybe close to like 15-ish years. The first time I heard of E3 was back in 2004 when Nintendo showed off that prototype of the original DS. And I think that was also where they first talked about Twilight Princess and that sort of thing. I remember like seeing it covered in Nintendo Powered. It's still an event that I get excited for, even if not everything is announced through E3 anymore because of other online events. But yeah, it is kind of interesting how it was like Nintendo was that company that was one of the first, at least in the gaming industry, to go into like doing these digital events. And now, even outside of the gaming industry, I think of like Apple and I think Google now they're doing their like events online, mostly because of the pandemic, but still, I think it's still kind of interesting how they saw it coming where it's like, hey, instead of doing... I do miss those, like, on-stage presentations because I still think it's really cool when they have, like, somebody on stage and there's, like, a big crowd, like, getting all excited to see the prototype of the 3DS or seeing like all those developers on stage from Nintendo Treehouse playing New Super Mario Brothers Wii on stage. But it's still kind of interesting how Nintendo kind of saw like this rise of digital events coming to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like with these digital only events, do you want them to be a usual thing? Like, because one is just cost effective,
Mm-hmm.
but also like when you do like these big events, you get like people excited. They're like lost in that hype. Like when they're in the crowd, or like when you see like all, or like if you're from home, like watching the press conference on screen, you get lost in like all these flashy colors and also these sudden announcements and whatnot, and all this like big effects that the stage does. Um, hmm. Do you think like yeah, like the point I'm getting at? Do you think these digital events are gonna be? Do you think it's gonna change the dynamic of like future presentations?
I mean, I don't think it's gonna be a thing where it's like there's only gonna be digital events from now on. Like, I imagine some will still be in person. Like, it's like how even when Nintendo went over to like just announcing from projects, I think it's like mainly if it's like just having like random events during like the spring and the fall. Those are gonna be digital. Like, I can't see really any company having to do like a big event like every like 6 months, like kind of like the way Apple used to do
Yeah.
things. But I imagine like every like once in a while they're still gonna have an in person event. It's kind of like how even when Nintendo went over to doing their directs, when the Switch was coming out, they still had that in person event. I think it was mostly for shareholders, but they had that event in Tokyo where they announced like the price and more of the games coming to the Switch. So I kind of see it as for the most part, it's going to be digital events, especially if it's not like a huge like product reveal. But I think every once in a while they're still going to have a in-person event, not just because there's a lot of hype with those kind of events, but I imagine it would also give a good opportunity like for like shareholders and journalists, especially like journalists, like one of like I think of like interviews at E3 for instance. Like I see like that could be a thing where it's like, okay, after the press conference is over, the big names in gaming journalism and even some influencers can like go up, can like go like talk to these developers and ask, hey, what's we want to learn more about this game coming out. The one example I could think of was back when Sony was coming out with the Vita, back when they called it the next generation portable. GameSpot's Ricardo Torres got to interview Shuhei Yoshida, and that sort of thing, and like ask him, what kind of media will the NGP, they called it at the time, what kind of media will the system take, and Yoshida talked a bit about like some of the games and things like that. So I kind of feel like the digital events, it's staying, but it's not going to become like the only way these companies make these announcements. Yeah.
Even though Sony and EA, like, Sony pulled out an EA games to do like
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
something smaller. Even they did it at like E3, like they just did like an outdoor only kind of event, and it
Mm-hmm.
felt kind of awkward how they announced stuff too.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, I just feel like it's just a thing where it's like these in-person events, they're gonna be like saved for like really huge announcements. Like I mentioned, things like that Nintendo Switch shareholder event that was in Tokyo.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah.
it's gonna feel kind of off if Microsoft is gonna be like the only company that does like these big events, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have someone like PC Gamer, well, they're only gonna do like an event that just show like indie and like double A games or whatever. Not triple A, but only like double A games. And
Yeah.
then and of course PC Gamer, they also have like sponsored segments where this feels kind of awkward to watch. Um, so yeah, it was E3. Like it's, I feel like E3 is needed pretty much
Yeah.
because it needs like last year it just felt really off. Like you have like all these segregated events just happening throughout the summer,
Mm-hmm.
like they only and whatnot. But with like E3, just have like everything just one place. It just feels like an event in itself, like
Mm-hmm.
just a event, and all these companies are like trying to compete against each other to be like the most flashiest, to do like the most flashiest game reveals. Cyberpunk has to like get Keanu Reeves away from Bill and Ted for a brief second, just to get him to like get on stage and pay him like maybe a couple $1 million,
Mm-hmm.
and then like and also and Nintendo Direct is just there. That's like they don't hire any sort of big name celebrity in the Nintendo Direct. They just like get some of the game developers or just get that narrator and then just like show the game because it's all about the game. Like
Yeah.
like who care? Like you don't need big celebrity. You don't need Keanu Reeves. You don't need Jeff Goldblum. You don't need the guy who played Gus from Breaking Bad, like what Jeff Keighley did in his Summer Games Fest. You got those two big name actors. Um, so yeah, it was E3. I like despite all the crap with E3, despite all like the incompetence that the people behind the scenes do,
Mm-hmm.
um, E3 is still needed pretty much. And Nintendo Direct, like I'm fine with them. I'm fine with Nintendo is doing their thing
Yeah.
because they're experienced with their thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're now experienced with it. Though, yeah, I do miss like those days where like they do like skits and whatnot. Like the like Reggie Fils-Aimé, like he willingly participates himself like fighting Iwata.
Yeah.
Like during the whole Smash
Oh.
Brothers reveal was like that shows the Mii Fighter,
Uh-huh.
or the time where Reggie like he does a Muppet of himself
Yeah.
and Miyamoto and Iwata. Like those days were just fun.
Yeah.
Nintendo Direct was just like yeah, I know it's all about the games, but it's also like just doing like a little bit of skit or something. Like come on,
Yeah,
do
I
something
mean,
just do something fun.
I mean,
I can't.
nowadays it just kind of
Yeah,
makes Nintendo seem even more like kind of corporate-y. It's kind of like after
yeah,
Iwata passed away and Reggie retired. It just kind of seems like their executives sort of like just kind of went back to being like just executives, like because
yeah.
like I can't imagine like Doug Bowser like fighting like Shintaro Furukawa. Like I just don't think that's ever like gonna happen. I mean, it would be cool and yeah, because I
The
really
only
miss
fun
those.
thing,
Yeah,
the only fun thing they've done was like introduce Doug Bowser and how his last name is the same name as the main villain of
yeah,
Mario,
mm-hmm.
which is like, yeah, okay, yeah, of course that's gonna happen. Yeah,
Yeah,
but other than that, like everything else is just like, just nothing, no scares, no funny, just games.
yeah. Just games. I mean, I don't know. It's
And
just
and,
weird. I
that, and
mean,
that's the worst thing of Nintendo Direct.
yeah. I even kind of miss the days when like Iwata was like the guy who was like basically became like the face of Nintendo, and he was the guy who would like often show up as like the first person you would see in the direct saying, hello everybody, we're here to talk about like these new games. So I just kind of miss that like side of Nintendo, and now it's like their executives are like taking a backseat. I know Doug Bowser like shows up like every once in a while, but he's not as like I mean, I feel like I'm judging him as like an actor, but he doesn't have that kind of like entertaining presence that like Reggie had. It's like after Reggie left, Nintendo just kind of went back to sort of being like, I mean, yeah, well, every once in a while we'll show like a couple people. Some of it I think is cool. Like you mentioned how they don't really like to do like celebrity like kind of endorsements. Instead, they often have like the developers like come up on like a Nintendo digital event. And something I like about that, instead of like having a celebrity sell the game, is I feel like it's much more grounded and it makes you feel like you're going behind the scenes with that developer to hear them talk about like Splatoon or with Sakurai with Smash. So I even kind of like how like I think there was like one time where Sakurai showed he has like a ton of consoles, like not just Nintendo, but I remember like there was like a picture showing he has like Xbox and like PlayStation systems, and I think like when they do things like that, I think it's kind of cool and it shows that there are people within Nintendo that go out and experience like what their competition is up to, not just for like to see what are their rivals doing, but to also show hey, we play their games too, you know yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah,
This
so
this is yeah, this E3, this Nintendo Direct is just yeah, it was okay, but
mm-hmm.
yeah, could be better. Oh well. I guess that's all I have to say about well anything to be honest.
Yeah,
How
I
about you,
noticed.
Bobby? Any like closing thoughts? Something?
Actually, before I give one, Kyle was saying only one part because everybody wants to these events, meet new people, and play the demos of these games in person. And I also think that's another really cool thing about E3 is like getting because like I remember with like the Wii U they had like all these demos. It was like Nintendo Land before Nintendo Land, and they were like the kinds of demos that could only be played at E3. Like there was no way Nintendo was going to release those demos of a console that hasn't even been released yet. And I think that's also another really cool thing is those demos that weren't going to be released on Nintendo eShop. The only way to play them basically is to be like a journalist going to these kind of events, which I guess kind of leans into another sort of, I don't want to call it issue, but it's like one of like sort of the downsides of E3 is that you can't quite get the full experience unless you're there at the LA Convention Center. And even it's not like an anime expo where you just have to pay like a relatively inexpensive fee and just get in. It's like you have to either be like, is it that you either have to be like a member of the press or you have to pay like a whole bunch of money to like get in if you're like not like part of the press?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They yeah. I think they opened it up like a couple years ago to the public, and but yeah, you have to pay a lot of money, like maybe $200, I think, if I recall.
Yeah, I mean,
So either you have to know someone who got like a free ticket to E3, you got like two free tickets, or you have to like yeah, be a member of the press. Or yeah, okay.
mhm.
Yeah, luckily I know someone who works at Amazon Games. But
Uh
yeah, I'm not gonna elaborate on that.
huh. Okay, I
I do
see.
not want to get her in trouble.
Mhm.
Okay, I said too much.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Um, but yeah, it's like hopefully, well, yeah, E3 maybe is gonna open up back again next year. So hopefully, yeah, everything will like tune out better. All right. So any closing remarks you want to make, Bobby?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just reiterate basically what I said earlier in the stream. Where basically, overall, I thought the Nintendo Direct was okay, but it wasn't quite as exciting as like I think about E3s like back in like 2009, 2010, 2011, 2013. I know some people don't like Nintendo's presentation at E3 2008 because of Wii Music, but I still like that one because they showed like Animal Crossing City Folk and Wii Sports Resort. So compared to those years, it's okay. Some games caught my attention, like WarioWare, that Super Monkey Ball announcement, and I'm kind of curious about Metroid Dread. But I hope that after the pandemic, and maybe it is because of the pandemic, and they can't make like games and hardware as efficiently as they could. Also because of that chip shortage, but hopefully after the pandemic, maybe E3 2022 will be even more exciting.
Mhm. Yeah, and for me, like this Nintendo Direct, like I said before, you definitely felt the effects of COVID, of like just affecting the entire presentation because just the amount of games and the type of games there are. Like, of course, yeah, the games are fine, like the games that I got announced and everything. But otherwise, and also like with the Switch being like 5 years old by this point, it's kind of expected to like not see like that many ports in a way from like from games that's already been out on like PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, some games are like remasters, or some games are like one game is cloud game, like no. Um, and one game is just brought up from the dead, Metroid Dread. That rhymed. Um, yeah. So yeah, like with Nintendo Direct, I'm hoping that it could get better next year. And E3, of course it's gonna open up next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm glad that you mentioned Animal Crossing, Bobby, because I've been playing that game again, and
Yeah.
I was really, really hoping for like any news about Animal Crossing in the Nintendo Direct. And yeah, no.
Nope.
Just
Nope. I don't even think
that
it
was
came up once.
yeah, that it was disappointing. It was the like second or third best selling game of all time on the Nintendo Switch, and they announced no new updates for that game. Like, come on. They could announce like an expansion pack or something. But oh well. Yeah, so yeah, that's all I have to say about it. I'm just
Yeah.
cooped out of
I
Nintendo.
mean, I really think the best way to like sum up like E3 2021 is basically keep waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep waiting until something good happens.
Mm-hmm.
You guys still can't get a PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X yet, so just deal with like these games that's also going to come out on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
Go
Which I'm.
buy Elden Ring and go buy your like previous generation games, guys, because it's going to be like that until the next year or so.
Yeah. Or until the pandemic is over, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
So once again, so thank you, Ross, for coming on. It's always fun to discuss video games and Nintendo with you. That's why I invited you on.
Thank you, Bobby, because sometimes I like to hear myself talk.
Yeah, and thanks for those that have joined us, Alan and Kyle. It's really great to see you guys jump in the live chat and hang out with us. And for those watching, if you've enjoyed the stream, give it a like and subscribe to the Blood Moon Bobby channel for more, particularly Nintendo related news. And until next time, this has been Blood Moon Bobby and Ross, and we'll see you all later.